we continue to be with you this morning as we do these virtual meet and greets with these candidates. Todd Russ, first off, Todd Thomsen will be with us soon. Of course, Todd going to be running for Corporation Commission, one of the hotly contested races this upcoming election season. Lots going on with the Corporation Commission, and we'll talk to Todd about that right now because he joins us on the line. Todd, there he is. How are you this morning? Got him? Very good. All right, he's muted. While he unmutes himself, I'll give you a little background on Todd. There he is. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Very good. I'm going to give him the 2-second background on you, and then we'll get into the interview. Sound good?
Okay.
All right. Todd Thomsen, Republican candidate for Corporation Commissioner, raised in Sapulpa. Todd is a 35-year veteran of the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. Thomsen is also—
Stop right there.
Yeah.
Stop right there.
Okay.
That had to be messed up on my website or something, but my dad's a 35-year veteran of the Highway Patrol. I'm a 30-year veteran of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. Thomsen is also a 12-year veteran of the Oklahoma House of Representatives. That's right, though, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where your political background really shines through. District 25. Is that correct?
Greater Ada.
Yeah,
that's
very
right.
Good. Very, very good. Todd, how are you, bud?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. It's good to see you guys this morning.
Definitely. We'll get into the office itself and some of the issues that are facing the Corporation Commission. But first off, like we've started off so many candidates in these meet and greet sessions, we want you to finish the sentence and take as much time as you want to, because I know it's a difficult decision to run for some of these offices for a lot of candidates, but you're running for Corporation Commissioner because.
So I served 12 years in the legislature. The last 4, I was the utility chairman, and I was on the Energy and Natural Resources Committee. So it gave me a hands-on working relationship with the commission and all that they impact, and the fact that they impact 85% or more of our economic infrastructure has always been intriguing. Had considered running back in 2018. Bob Anthony had said he was going to retire, and yet he didn't, and so I decided not to. It's an open seat this time. Commissioner Murphy is the first one to term out, and so I was actually asked by people that I worked with intimately on different bills and pieces of legislation in telecommunications and oil and gas and in electric and natural gas, all said, "Hey, Todd, we'd like for you to run." And so I got in feeling like one, that I was supposed to. But what happens on a campaign is that as you campaign, the why of your the reason that you run continues to grow. And that has been the case this time, as I've been out and I've been meeting with people. Specifically, the why that I run has grown substantially.
Sounds like it definitely has. Hey, I want to remind everyone that Chad Warmington not with us this morning. My name is Brent Skarky. I'm the new Vice President of Communications for the State Chamber. A lot of people were wondering my old television duties. No, I'm an employee with the State Chamber now, and appreciate Todd spending some time with us. Corporation Commission, you touched on it a little bit there, but a lot of people hear this big technical title and they're not really sure exactly what they're in charge of. For our members, give us a little background of exactly what Corporation Commission does and what they regulate.
Well, they have some type of regulatory authority over telecommunications, electric, natural gas, the oil and gas industry, railroads, trucking, and even cotton gins. And so if I was elected and you wanted to put in a new cotton gin, then you'd have to come to me.
I don't think I'm going to be doing that anytime soon, but now that I know that, that's good to know. It's on my list.
Yeah.
Hey, the Oklahoma Corporation Commission regulates a number of things like we were talking about. What do you think will be the most challenging task for you to get up to speed on when it comes to the OCC's regulatory arena? Like you mentioned, it's vast.
Well, yeah, it's so vast. And in fact, from a pedigree standpoint, I can say, listen, I was the utility chairman. I was on the Energy and Natural Resources. I've worked intimately on legislation with all of those things. But the reality is when you look at the breadth and depth of what the commission does, I think anybody would be foolish to think that they are qualified, quote unquote, as they walk into this job. And so I think you have to go in with the mindset that I need to be a learner and a listener, because there are people that have done this. I mean, as I've visited the past commissioners and current commissioners, they will all say, listen, we've been here X number of years and we still are learning. I've met with staff, and that's the one thing I think that I did develop is a relationship with commission staff and people in the industry. So I have the tools and the resources available, but I think it's the mindset of saying, I need to be open. It's kind of like an athlete. The worst athletes that I ever played with were the ones that thought they were all that and weren't coachable. The greatest athletes were the ones that had the confidence that they could do it, but they were also coachable and willing to learn and improve. And so I would come into the job with some connections and some expertise, and there'd be some things that I know nothing about. For example, I mentioned cotton gins, but I was meeting with the group and they asked me about cotton gins, and I had to say, I honestly know nothing about that. And so I went out, spent a day with a guy on a cotton gin. And I think that's the only way that you've got to approach that, is that mindset that I've got to be a learner first and soak in the information.
Well, and that sounds like something that was actually on my list as well. You mentioned the incredible amount of information, the incredible amount of regulatory reach that the commission has itself. It sounds like you're telling us that your skills as a legislator, as a politician, but also as a mediator, or something that makes you the ideal candidate, correct?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why people that have asked me to run liked the working relationship that we had while I was in the legislature, because while we didn't always agree, I think they could all walk away and felt like we all worked well together. And I think, I hope, and what I strive to do is carry myself with an independent mind and somebody that's pragmatic and wants to find solutions. I don't want to just make statements, and I don't really care about titles or accolades. I just want what's right and to try to find that balance. I think the other thing is that, I think you need somebody that has a big picture mentality for the state. I mean, it is our economic infrastructure. We have to have big picture mentality so that we can improve and grow our state, but it also come down to an individual mindset as well, so that we're taking care of the individual.
Speaking of individual, you're one of 3 individuals on that panel, and that's kind of different in government. Usually you would have a huge conglomeration like the House, or a single executive like the governor, and to work with 3 commissioners, that's got to be something that, have you ever experienced that kind of situation, and what do you expect from that kind of situation at the Corporation Commission?
No, I think that's what makes the commission so different and unique. If you're elected to as another agency, another position, the insurance, if you're Secretary of State, if you're, I'm superintendent of education, you're kind of in charge and you get to dictate. As the commissioner, you're one of 3. And so you have to be somebody that can be individual in your thought process, but also workable, and to try to find solutions with other people. You're not going to be able to dictate everything. You're not a dictator. You don't have a magic wand. And I think those are the things that I really tried to pull from my experience in the legislature. And it's really pulled from my experience as an athlete and working for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, is that you got to be somebody that is willing to work with people, to find compromise and not just make statements.
Definitely does. It takes 2 to make anything happen, 2 of the 3. So you definitely have to work with the other members of that board to get things done. Speaking of getting things done, if you had an unlimited budget at the Corporation Commission, what kind of things, in your estimation, as you take a look at the office, as you take a look at the entirety of that division, what kind of things do you think need to be done to make it to better serve both the average person, but also the business community?
Yeah, well, so I haven't done a deep dive, know all of the specifics. So just on a surface basis, I would say one, technology is always vital. We're in a technological world. And so you always have to be looking at keeping up with technological upgrades, because if you're behind 2 years, you're behind, 50 in this growth of technology. The other thing is that, pay, if you had the ability, I think that, what we're trying to do is have the best experts that work in the commission. I think there's like 560 employees at the commission, roughly. They're around the state. Only a couple of hundred of them are in the commission itself. The rest are out, and they're experts. And we need experts that are dealing with the oil and gas industry, that we're dealing with electric, that we're dealing with telecommunications, people that are highly skilled and highly trained. And whenever we have a low, whenever our pay grade is not competitive with the outside world, then we may not be getting the best. And so we need to make sure that that's held up. I mean, we've got to have the right people in place.
Definitely have to have the right people. And I know that's why you're running yourself for that. Talk to me a little bit about the office itself. You mentioned the oil and gas and electricity, just the changing face of energy and manufacturing and industry across the state has to make the Corporation Commission a little bit flexible as different technologies come in that you're going to be responsible for as well, right?
Yeah, I think our whole state and the commission, in response to legislation and new changes, new innovations, new technologies, new conflicts and problems, requires that the commission has to be ready and available and trying to be. See, I kind of liken the commission. You're a judge making judgment on cases, but in some ways you're like a referee. And I think the commission has to give a framework for business community to operate so that they understand what the ground rules are, so that they understand the framework, but there's not any, that it's very clear so that they don't have any uncertainty. But a bad referee is the one that gets in the way of progress and inhibits the game. And so I think a good referee defines the rules and unleashes the business community to be able to prosper and to move forward, and doesn't stand in the way of progress.
I couldn't agree more. Give us some ways for us to judge you. You win the election, you become corporation commissioner. How can we judge you after a year, 2 years, as being successful?
Well, I mean, I think the challenge is that, with the commission, you're responding to different cases, and so it's hard to say, judge me because if I was successful in this or that. But I think the thing you can judge me on is I want to be on an authentic commissioner that is genuine and real, and somebody that anybody in the chamber that wants to work with me is going to feel like Todd listened to me, Todd heard me, Todd worked with me. Todd didn't have a know-it-all mentality. I tell people all the time, one of my best qualities is that I know what I don't know. But what I've seen out on the campaign trail is that we have a lot of experts in every industry, and that we can glean. And I think collectively we can find solutions. And so instead of having the mindset that I want to do something to you, I want to do something with you. And I hope that after a year or so, you could say, hey, Todd actually lived out what he said he would be. He was authentic, he was genuine, he listened, and he was somebody that was good to work with. We didn't agree with him all the time, but he was good to work with, and he was fair.
Very good. Final question. We got about a minute. Big changes with OU football. You have a very storied past with them. Your expectations for this year?
Well, I can't tell you how excited I am for OU football. To be honest, I've just, over the last few years, I felt something was a little stagnant. And it seemed like even our team just didn't have a little bit of the fight in the last year that you usually would typically see. And I think Coach Venables has brought in a new energy for for our entire fan base. And I think that his 10 years at Clemson really helped him grow to be the guy that's ready for this position. And it comes down to, it's not the X's and O's, but it's the Jimmies and Joes. And it seems to me that people are gravitating towards OU because they see something potential and see hope in the future. And so I expect great things.
Todd, we appreciate it. And we wish you the best of luck. Thanks for the football prognosis, but also more importantly, as you run for corporation commissioner, getting us up to speed on your campaign. Thank you.
So can I say one last thing?
Please do.
All right. Well, I always encourage people when I go speak that if you like something you hear, please go out and vote next Tuesday, the 23rd. Make sure you get out there. If for some reason you listen to me and you think, man, that guy's a tool, and you don't like me, then be there on the 24th. Okay. Go vote the 24th, please. All right. Thank you.
All right. So if you're tool, the 24th. All right. Okay. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. You
Exactly.
got that. All right.
Love it. Thank you, Todd, for the time, man.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.